Alan Wilkie is the referee, but it was the advice of the linesman Eddie Walsh which helped him. Oh, what's going on here? Cantona's getting involved with some supporters.
In 1995, French footballer Eric Cantona delivered a, and I'm quoting here, kung fu-style kick to a heckler at an away game. When asked about the incident at a later press conference, he responded, "When seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much." Protagonist, from the Greek protagonistes, a portmanteau of their words for first in importance and actor, is defined per Websters as the principal character in a literary work such as a drama or story, or the leading actor or principal character in a television show, movie, book, etc. A subheading to this definition expands the word to more broadly mean an active participant in an event. Well, that's curious. Do all protagonists have to be active participants in their stories? Certainly not. There are a handful of well-accepted protagonist variants, both active and inactive. There's the hero, the anti-hero, and the tragic hero, all of which fill out the more hands-on side of things, with some obvious variation. Then there's the so-named false protagonist, think Marion Crane from Psycho, the supporting protagonist, Dr. Watson, and even something called a pinball protagonist, which the dude from Lebowski fits pretty well, being bounced around by entirely external forces with little care or agency.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
These are all well and good subcategories for lead characters, yet none of them quite align with one character who has been stuck in my head since 2011. Sam Witwicky, as he appears in Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Do not hit my car! It's a collector's item!
Sounds certifiable, I know, but that fits the subject matter, doesn't it? No, I think Sam in this movie carves out a wholly unique, if not definitionally pointless niche in protagonism itself. The irrelevant protagonist. Now, to justify carrying on like this, it's important to ask, is Sam Witwicky even a protagonist? Let's talk it through. Speaking generally, a protagonist's needs, goals, and choices, I'm quoting, shape the plot of the story they're in. Do Sam's? Well, in the sense that the story we're watching sometimes follows him, I could argue they do, even if his needs and goals amount to needing a job, needing to not get cucked by Patrick Dempsey,
nicknames, that's fun.
Yeah.
and needing the world not to end. Pretty standard stuff and a bit of a cop-out, but it's within the margins. Protagonists are also most commonly the character opposed by the antagonist. But is Patrick Dempsey's Dylan the antagonist? Well, antagonists are, not always, but it's a pattern, said to be mirrors of the protagonist. And the true antagonist of this story, the one with the Transformers in it, is very clearly Sentinel Prime. And not only is he obviously a counterpoint to Optimus, but I honestly don't believe that he even knows who Sam is by the time the story concludes. So, still, Dempsey's high-flying business mogul could be argued as a sort of aspirational mirror for Sam, the inverse to his rudderless, jobless, college graduate self. And there's no rule about the number of antagonists. So, that's 2 for 2 technicalities in favor of Sam as the, or at very least a, protagonist. So, what now? December of 2013, at a Berlin Film Festival screening of Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac, Shia LaBeouf walks the red carpet wearing a tuxedo and a paper bag over his head. Written on it are the words, "I am not famous anymore." Later on, at a press conference, LaBeouf answers one question before he says this.
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Curious. Now, LaBeouf's breakdown is a matter of public record, and I'm not looking to relitigate the whole thing here in a YouTube video, but I do find there to be something germane to my weird point in all this real-life drama. During his extremely public spiraling, LaBeouf was accused of plagiarizing the words and works of other celebrities and creatives, more than a dozen times. Esquire magazine, Mark Zuckerberg, Tiger Woods, Kanye West, David Mamet, graphic novel author David Close, even Yahoo Answers wasn't safe from his alleged misappropriations. However, in January of 2014, at the height of his I am not famous anymore screed, LaBeouf claimed that his entire battery of stolen words and content had been part of an elaborate piece of quite meta and, frankly, damaging performance art. Now, people have raked this claim apart as nothing more than a poor excuse, and for my part, having looked into it, that's likely. And yet, couched in this entire meltdown, all I could see is a damaged former child star. Someone unprepared for the life he found himself living, clawing for some relevance in the world that he once belonged in. Now let me say, that is not meant to excuse either his plagiarism or especially his abuses, but it is, in another very meta way, connected to my point. Which brings us to...
You're getting this?
In Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Sam Witwicky's first line of dialogue is this.
What is that?
Him beginning his story confused by newly written and Megan Fox replacement Carly's stuffed bunny actually establishes his character arc pretty well. Set a few years after Revenge of the Fallen, Moon hands us Sam at his most irrelevant. Even LaBeouf described Sam like this.
You know, this is like, it's the most broken Sam's ever been in the 3 movies, and you start there.
He has no job, no prospects outside of a semi-classified medal from Obama, and no real aspirations aside from wanting to matter again. Or, more pointedly, to matter alongside the Autobots again.
What? What happened to Bumblebee?
He's off on his missions. I had to get this to backup.
Oh, your car has a job, huh?
On the topic of the Autobots, the first act in Dark of the Moon is really, truly a tale of 2 movies. The first 9 minutes are all dramatic narration and historical fiction and Cybertronian secrets on the moon. Then we get a paltry 5 minutes with Sam before it leans back to the Autobot narrative, complete with Optimus giving hurried world-building narration. It's the kind of important info that you'd expect to hear from, you know, the protagonist, maybe? It almost makes you wonder if Sam was even supposed to be in this movie. Well, no exaggeration, the only morsel of info or trivia available on IMDb regarding Sam is that it was indeed LaBeouf's final time playing as the character. Thanks, yeah, I found that very helpful. While Frances McDermott and Optimus are discovering cover-ups and unburying our hero-turned-villain Sentinel Prime, Sam is flubbing his way through some job interviews.
Okay, Jack, there's 2 types of people in this world. There's thinkers, there's doers. There's winners, there's dreamers, and there's buddies.
You cannot convince me this is anything but a whole lot of bad improv. But all of this hilarity does round out to Sam's first real moment.
Mister, I saved your life twice, okay? I can't tell you how or when or why, but I have done shit that matters, and I just kind of like a job where I matter again.
It's honestly a little sad. This cry for help just amounts to him yearning to be part of the plot of his own movie. Well, too bad for that, but it does at least land him a job. Luckily for him though, an overacting Ken Jeong throws him a narrative lifeline hook at around the 40-minute mark, leading him to attempt a break-in at a government building.
We've got an energon reading! Got aliens in the vehicle! You moved this dead! Wow! Got aliens in the vehicle!
Yeah, that part always just kind of gets me. Okay, anyway, Sam reuniting with Bumblebee and delivering his message to the military might seem like his way back into the plot, but no such luck. Frances McDermott does her weather best to not so gently nudge him back out of the movie, and at the 52-minute mark, she says this.
With all due respect, young man, I appreciate what you did, but you're not a soldier. You're a messenger. You've always been a messenger.
8 minutes later, at exactly 1 hour into the picture, Sam just goes for broke and says what we all know by now.
He doesn't know who he is without
I just
it.
want to matter.
I said the other line was sad, but my god, this one. From here, Sam is forced to pursue whatever narrative threads he can reach by calling in the B team.
Tell Megatron, let's tango.
Absolutely no disrespect intended to the great John Turturro, but I'm right. When this ragtag posse follows up the conspiracy side of things, somehow getting involved with the Russian mob, even the camera seems to forget Sam for the majority of the scene. But being generous, you could just make the argument that Simmons steals the show. In the next sequence, a very Michael Bay highway chase, Sam's only contribution, outside of almost getting pancaked, is yelling vague commands to Bumblebee.
Shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him!
Yeah, shoot him, get him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, yeah. I'm sure B really needed to hear that. Immediately after is Sentinel's big heel turn reveal, but nothing concretely changes for Sam until this lesser reveal at just around the halfway point.
You see, the thing that he taught me was, when it's not your war, you join the side that's going to win.
Turns out, Sam's jet-setting human rival Dylan is a bad guy, woo. And with some help from Not a Damsel there, he strong-arms Sam into acting as an unwilling spy for the Decepticons. That's certainly a big turn, it's important and dramatic to say the least, but distill it down and Sam is still just a pawn being pushed around. Nothing's really changed. Plus, he effectively spies for one scene. Optimus rightly chooses to lie to his face and then fakes his own death. Rad. Linkin Park tells us that it's time to be sad, and Sam, now already free of Dylan's grip, gets the side character gang back together and heads for the Decepticon base in Chicago to save the day, or at least Carly. And wouldn't you fucking know it, Sam gets one driving montage to the city limits, is immediately discovered, attacked, and nearly killed before Optimus reappears and saves him.
We will kill them all.
A moment to step back from the point-by-point recap. At this stage in the film, what is Sam's motivation? Okay, saving Carly. Better question. What is Sam's arc? What is he going through? What change is happening to him internally? Well, let's review. When we began, he was a loser with no job, no future, a junky car, just wishing he could relive the days when he was a hero. Now? Well, he's on a mission again, there's certainly that, and it's not too far removed from the old heroic stuff. We get to see him running, screaming, leaping around. We get not one, but two helpless and hopeless, all is lost moments, both of which get the good old slow-mo intervention at the last second. We even get our obligatory trailer moment of him shouting, "Optimus!" All the pieces are there. So what's different? I think it has to be Sam. He might have, over the course of the runtime, just barely managed to crowbar himself into the story as an attaché, a hanger-oner, but it's just not the same as when he was the boy with the Allspark, or the young man who revived Optimus Prime. No, across this entire story, the very best he's managed is to just be a...
It's the messenger.
Yeah, there is that. Okay, put aside the messenger bit for just a hair. How often does a lead good guy character in a blockbuster say,
"I'll kill you,"
to the bad guy, and then they actually kill them? I mean, villains usually die, but they get the Disney death or some absolving comeuppance or anything else that morally clears the hero from culpability. But not here. Marked by a choppy edit, Sam straight up kills Dylan. Damn, hardcore. But yes, messenger. Even if the read could be read as flippant or bitter, I take this literally as Sam accepting his new role. He's acquiescing to fate, surrendering to the will of the narrative that no longer wants him. The once hero is now lucky to just be a messenger in the story that he used to lead. See, I think the reason I've obsessed over this nothing burger of a character or character arc for a decade plus just comes down to it was the first time I'd ever seen anything like this. Not the action, the robots, the whatever. I'd never seen this level of almost accidental meta on display. It's like Sam read the script to Transformers 4, saw he wasn't in it, and had an existential crisis about it. And that struggle for relevance in the film, as well as real life, actually makes the whole thing, dare I say, relatable. In the midst of my unnecessarily extensive amount of research for this essay, I actually did read about another subset of protagonists that's closer to Sam than any of the others I mentioned. Per TV Tropes, a useless protagonist is a point-of-view character who can only watch more capable supporting characters bust their asses saving both them and the world. End quote. Hammer, meat nail. But even if a useless protagonist is the closest pre-existing available label, I still think Sam in Dark of the Moon deserves my invented label of irrelevance. Because nothing about useless protagonists says that they want to be anything more, but our irrelevant one, Sam, tries like hell to be important. He just fails at it. For all of his mewling and clawing and moping and fighting, he never manages to do anything more than orbit the story, like a satellite, or the moon. At the end of the day, he's just a messenger, left screaming into the void. Yeah, aren't we all?